We could hardly compile a list of 2015's best PC games without mentioning The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt, a title which sets a new benchmark for fantasy action RPGs. Vastness and longevity are not always desirable qualities in their own right, but in this case, the story of supernatural contract killer Geralt of Rivia spans more than 100 hours, and so much of it will linger in your memory. Your journey across the immense northern kingdoms involves genuinely interesting characters, memorable locations, major plot decisions that fall on your shoulders, and awe-inspiring monsters to free from the earth. It's the attention to detail, the sharp writing, the vivid characters, and the epic heroics that make every hour enjoyable. It would be foolish not to mention Rocket League as well, as it's clearly the best multiplayer game released this year. This is a soccer title with a perverse, ingenious twist. The footballers have been replaced by cars. Your shiny blocks of metal and carbon fiber lack the extremities required for nuanced ball control, yet you can go from 0 to 60 in a couple of seconds. The result is a masterfully berserk depiction of the beautiful game, with players tumbling across stadiums, boosting their thrusters skyward, flipping and twisting their roll cages with a bloodthirsty desire to collide with a giant beach ball. While this chaotic spin on soccer seems like an awful idea on paper, in practice it's an elegant masterpiece, eliciting an explosion of emotion in its players. Metal Gear Solid 5 The Phantom Pain represents a change in direction at Konami, being the first in the series to launch day and date alongside the console editions. It also happens to be the greatest stealth game of all time, replacing the series' room-by-room level structure with a vast stretch of Afghan desert. The freedom in your approach to each mission adds a dazzling degree of strategy and planning, something that had a natural limit in previous games. The AI, which has always been excellent throughout the series, now has the freedom to be truly spectacular, with enemies reacting and adapting to signs of your presence. It's by no means perfect, the story's final stretch being particularly divisive, but it's an extraordinary achievement nonetheless. Fallout 4 represents another remarkable achievement in a year packed with acclaimed, high-profile games. Even for a Bethesda title, the degree of freedom offered to the player here is outstanding. A whole library of side quests can be discovered and pursued at your convenience, while instruments of death in its bleak world can be crafted and modified to your heart's content. Dig deeper and you'll discover further options to strengthen your armor, mix your own chems, and pick out your favorites from an extensive menu of imaginative ability perks. And then there's the option to build entire structures with their own electrical circuits and farms, forage from materials that you scavenged along the way. Fallout 4 is fundamentally an archaic game, thrusting you into its world with little guidance or the slickened mollycoddling of modern AAA games. What it offers instead is a promise that every moment of curiosity and every creative thought you conjure in this world will be handsomely rewarded. The fifth entrance on our list is Kerbal's Space Program, a game that gives you the keys to space and lets you pick the destination. From the nail-biting first manned launch to putting the final touches on your multi-module refueling station in orbit around the moon, Kerbal's Space Program strikes a wonderful balance between education and trial-and-error gameplay. The semi-real physics model nails that sweet spot of complexity, making it accessible to anyone with the desire to learn, yet avoiding the headache that can come with an extremely realistic simulation. When weeks of iteration finally carries your adorable Kerbal into the depths of space, you'll certainly feel like a rocket scientist. And when your moon landing is just so slightly off, tipping your craft and dooming your poor Kerbals, you'll learn another important lesson: to never give up.